All right. This is the best experience with your host, Nick Best and the Angry Dad. And before we get into today's podcast, I'd like to thank our podcast sponsors, Barbell Apparel, premium athletic wear engineered for performance with a tailored athletic fit, refined clothing for an athletic body type. Evolution Athletics, a supportive gear company owned by Brian Shaw, four-time world's strongest man and strongest man on earth. We believe in all athletes and supporting their journey towards greatness. Iced Up Industries, some of the best cold plunges, cold baths you can get, and you can get $50 off with code BEST at checkout at Iced Up Industries. Please use these links. It really helps us out. We appreciate it. And thank you guys. All right, Nick.
All right. Well, we got David from Sticks and Stones. This
How's
is
it going,
the
David?
bad man who created the amazing frames that came in two pieces that were like amazing at OSG last year. So let's talk about what you did and how you came up with this idea. Because they go inside one another, and I don't think people realized that they actually came apart.
That was a birth child of randomly running into Lynn from OSG, and we were both at the World's Strongest Man in Myrtle Beach. Mm-hmm. And I saw he had his OSG t-shirt on, and I had my Sticks and Stone t-shirt. We both pointed at each other, hey, you run OSG. He's like, hey, you make weird stuff. Let's talk. And and he was like, hey, as we were just chatting, as the events are going on at World's Strongest Man, he was like, man, it'd be really cool to because I've seen the stuff you've made, and I over the past 2 years, I've kind of built up a somewhat of a reputation of being able to build really strong, really weird things. And he had noticed, and we had talked about how we could kind of collaborate and work together. And he said, I love the name of your company, Sticks and Stone, like wood and rocks. Like, what if we could do like a kind of a medley with that kind of thing? What do you think? I'm like, well, I mean, a timber frame. And he was like, well, if we could like a Husafell stone, because I've also made the replica Husafell stones as well. And I was like, but the thing is, having 400 people drop a rock on that's a big test of anything. It's steel, lumber, whatever it is. That's a big test on concrete against a hockey floor. So I was like, that makes me a little bit nervous. And he said, well, what if we could do like a Denny stone walk? I was like, well, it'd have to be a loadable situation. That's kind of the steel pins that Cerberus makes. Mm-hmm. And we kind of chatted through that a little bit. And I had the idea because I got my start in the strength, I guess, equipment industry by making concrete molds that you could make your own plates, dumbbells, and kettlebells out of. Mm-hmm. And my plate mold is a 17.77 inch diameter plate that you put in as much concrete as you want for 25 up to 100 pound plates, but as a center in the middle that could go onto a bar. So that kind of popped in my head is like, what if we could make a stone with that same center hole that slides onto the weight pins for Cerberus? And then that grew into, well, that sounds good. Figure it out. So I had to then, as the guy that's already replicated a few historic stones, I reached out to, and I go around the world, like Scotland, Iceland, Faroe Islands. I love lifting historic stones, as you've picked up a lot of the ones that I have as well, Nick. Yep. And I reached out to Nick, to Brett Nickel. I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I'm thinking the Denny's are going to be way too big for our 64 women, because they'd do like a snatch grip holding the rings out way out wide and they'd be banging up under their ankles. So it's like, what if we use your like a smaller base, like your nickel stones? Would you be okay with me putting your family name as a replica of your stones? He was like, he's a high energy guy. He's like, yeah, let's do it. That'd be amazing. Yeah. So he sent me like 500 pictures of a ruler around every rock. This is a crack and this is a crevice and this is a lean here. And I did the best I could making a replica from 2,000 miles away, and had it feel just like the nickels do up against your shins. The shape was because I didn't have the right height on them, because I had to take the top off for the weight pin and the bottom off for all the plates. So I had like the middle third section feeling where it would hit your shins. So they weren't exactly looking like the nickels, but they felt like the nickels. And on the frame side, as we were chatting through how to make that loadable, in my head, I mean, like the weight pin would have had to been like 18, 20 inches long for all those plates to stack up from the 60 weight that he wanted to do all the way up to the super heavies, which I think ended up at like 800, 850, something like that. Yeah. So I was like, what if we had a lighter frame and we stacked the top on top of it and have it kind of puzzle piece in, so that the first half the competitors had a smaller, still formidable looking frame, but then it gets really big, like the Giants Live one that they have that has the big 8x8 timbers on it. It would make tall, and it wouldn't. And
That
then
one's
have
fun, by the way.
what's that?
I've used that one a few times. That one's fun, by the way.
It looks
Being
crazy.
inside that thing, it's just hard
Yeah.
getting out of it.
Yeah, well, that was also the thing. Like, if we had it too tall, we had some super heavyweights that were about 5'3". So having them to do a cartwheel or a front flip out of the side of it. So I made the cutouts to where it'll be just high enough, to almost like a hurdle hop for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with our 64s, if it was the same height for everybody, they'd have to do like almost a cartwheel out to get out of it. So to mitigate that situation with that many wide ranging body sizes, having that base frame being only 18 inches high, and then the second half bringing it up to, I think it was up to 28 or 29 inches tall on that little step side. So it wasn't high and very high for anybody, but after it was
you had some innovation designs on that thing where the handles, you could either actually lower them. So if they were too tall, like if the competitor was shorter and couldn't clear the ground, they could lower the handles down an inch or two as well. I thought that was pretty cool.
They were adjustable from 14 up to 20 inches high. And then I had set I think it was 32 inches wide and 34 inches wide. Mm-hmm. And I'm a large human. The 34 felt really good to me. So I figured if I go 2 more inches in, that's good for some shorter people. But obviously that was my biggest downfall, was that the handles were still too wide for the smaller statured females. And I promise I'll never make that mistake again. I'll make sure that's a little bit better for the future if I ever do something like that again. But I was really proud of the fully adjustable frames handles on those that had never been done before.
Yeah, but you got to figure there's 400 people doing it. There's going to be so many different, sizes and shapes and stuff like that to get it right about 99.8% of the time. Out of all the people that went, there was only like 2 or 3, right?
I think there was like 32 people that decided to go lower than 20 inches, but everyone else kept the most inside handle and the highest handle.
Right. So
about 10% decided to change it.
Yeah. So that's, like I said, that's a really good job. That's awesome.
Appreciate
that.
So
what's the weirdest thing you've built so far?
That's interesting.
The weirdest, and then the most challenging.
So I guess I would say the weirdest thing that I've ever made was for the Arnold last year. I sponsored the loading race for the amateurs, and then the loading race for the World's Strongest Firefighter. And in both of them, I made plate loadable fire hydrants. So the base had a screw in all the way in that had a threaded rod that fit in between plates, so we could stack 25s and 10s underneath it. So it just made it a little bit longer, but it would add a lot of weight to each weight category. And so I had 2 225-pound matching hydrants, 2 150, and then 2 100-pound matching hydrants, and then all of them were plate loadable to get them as heavy or as light as we needed them to.
Damn!
Wow, that's a trip.
That might have been the most difficult to modify, because obviously I drove across Texas, I think 3 different times finding matching sets, because that was the problem, finding ones that are exact same shape. Because if you run 2 lanes and one has a 190 and one has a 170, that's a little sketch. So
yeah, that doesn't work.
Finding the exact same like gears and shapes and designs in Texas, because there's like 20 different types of hydrants in our state. So, and it's a big state. So finding ones that kind of were around that right weight, and then modifying them to make them safe, they wouldn't roll and crush anybody, wouldn't cut anybody, and then being able to put the base on it and make it plate loadable. That was probably the weirdest thing I've ever had to make. And it was off of a conversation with Dion and James Deffenbaugh, when they're like, hey, we want to do this, like, what kind of weird stuff could we load? I'm like, well, as a stone maker and a stone lifter, I want to do Atlas stones, natural stones, Basque stones, rectangular, cube, spherical, like put them all up there. And they're like, well, let's not just do stones. Like, what about sandbags and press blocks? Like, yeah, we'll do some normal stuff, but like, I really want to make some other things too. So I made Basque cubes of different weights for each of the categories to go in for so they loaded Basque cubes instead of going to shoulder, like the Basque lifters, they put them all on the blocks. And then I brought a couple Husafel stones as well for that race as well. So
yeah, I kind of like it to where you can't shoulder this stuff. Because a front carry should be a front carry. If you're loading in a medley, you shouldn't. I kind of shouldn't be carrying stuff on your shoulders. The whole idea is to carry it out here. It's a test of strength, not a test of cleaning.
For sure.
Because once you get it up there, it's piece cake. But yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
It was a
I think
fun
the
one.
weirdest thing I've had to load though was a car axle at Worlds. They did that one year where we had the monster tire hubs, which was just kind of awkward. But
That was the
the
transmissions and everything too, right?
yeah, we had the other parts of the car weren't too bad, but the axle was really weird because you had to grab it one way and carry it in another.
Huh.
So to
That's
pick it up, because it would rotate as you picked it up if you didn't do it right.
Did it have the? I can't remember. Did it have the differential in the center still?
Yeah,
Oh, that's so cool.
that's what I mean. It was a little questionable, a little dicey, but I mean it's kind of like, especially that was the one I didn't expect to do, and I didn't get to train for it. Just show up and go. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna. The goal is to go as fast as I can, but I'm gonna get through this one and not get hurt. So it was interesting. It makes you think twice about it.
That's how I used to be. When I used to compete way back, I'm an old has been. It was before Strongman Corp and USS split. It was still NAS at the time.
I remember that.
Half the time they'd show you 3 events and there'd be 2 surprise events when you showed up. So you just show up strong and see what happens,
Correct.
I kind of like it better that way. It's like if
said
you're
that.
strong enough, anything should
Yeah.
be a good competition. Instead of I've trained on the exact object of the same height and the same size and same diameter of what you're about to play with. It seems like
That was a great era, but the weights weren't as crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
So if we're going to take the weights up that crazy, then the guys need to be training for them ahead of time. It's not just
the safety
show
of
up
that.
and here's the events, because the weights now are so much heavier than they were, back in the early 2000s.
For sure.
Like a heavy yoke back then was 800 pounds. Heavy
That's
yoke
normal.
now is like a normal yoke now is between 1,100 and 1,000.
It's crazy.
Pretty much at all the top level shows. Then
sure.
you get a couple of freaky ones that'll get up to 13 to 15. But for the most part, that's calmed down. But it's between 1,000 and 1,100 usually. So you're going to want to train on stuff like that. You can't going out and picking it up. I could see a strong guy going out and just picking up an 800-pound yoke and survive it. You're not going to do 1,000.
For sure.
So it's stuff like that where it's really cool to show up and just have a mystery event, but then maybe it's just not as absolutely nuts heavy.
For sure.
When you go, and then nobody gets any idea, and then everybody just has to come actually figure out how to lift it, and the ones that can think the most and figure it out will win the event usually.
Well, that was what was so fun about the hydrants when I first we announced what they were going to be. I guess Facebook Marketplace became just destitute of all fire hydrants. Everyone that had anyone for sale, they were spiking the prices, and they were still getting sold by a bunch of athletes around the nation. And it was like people that had never touched a hydrant before, they were like, "Hey, can I sneak over to that pallet and pick one up real quick?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, go play with it. You're not going to break it. It's solid cast iron. You're not going to hurt the dang thing, So
you might chip the floor though.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the biggest worry.
Take a chunk of concrete out.
And that's been my goal this coming year, is to do a lot more steel objects, because no matter how strong you make concrete, there's always that. I mean, the strongmen have the ability to mess up a metal ball with a rubber hammer, and and concrete is not as strong of anything. I mean, wood will bend, concrete's going to shatter. So I have the highest of anxieties every time I go to one of these events that I've made something out of concrete, and I'm just watching all these people run or move or lift it. I'm like, if they fail this thing, it's going to either hurt them, or this thing's going to shatter and like a chunk's going to fall off. But luckily so far, it's only happened once in 3 years. So, and that was because of a loader and resetter error, not an athlete error. So,
wow.
Yeah,
I did a contest in Romania in 2009, and one of the events was a Husafeld carry, which it wasn't the Husafeld. It was just kind of coffin shaped, and it was concrete, and there were 400 pounds, and there was no rebar in them. They had 4 of them. And I was next to last to go, and I was on the last one because they'd have all broken.
Oh gosh, that makes my heart hurt, man.
Yeah, I remember Marshall White was in the lead in that event, and I was going and I was getting tired. And they could tell I was getting tired, but I wasn't that far from catching Marshall. And the promoter's like, put it down, do not drop it, do not drop it, just put it down. Stop it. Because he knows I'm just gonna go until I collapse. And if I
For sure.
collapse, that thing's gonna drop and break. And I stopped a little bit short and got second in that event. But yeah, it was the last one. And then the last guy, it doesn't matter if he goes and breaks it because he's the last guy. And there was like one after me. I think
Nice.
Storchev was after me, and it didn't matter if he dropped it or not. But yeah, it's a little funny watching the promoter just kind of sit there and squirm. First
It's
one breaks,
nerve-wracking,
second
man.
one breaks, third one breaks.
Especially if it's a distance or a fatigue to failure event, man. You don't know what's going to happen those last 10 seconds on any one of those people carrying your object. So I had one guy. So I made some concrete tombstones that were 100-pound, 150, 200, 250, and 350 for a Husafel like walk for distance. And
Right.
it was at Texas Iron Republic in North Houston for Static Monsters. And that was one of their dynamic movements after the press and the deadlift. And these people are carrying a very large tombstone, says Texas Iron Republic, and the weight of it on the front, and they're going as far as they can. And one person fell backward. I've never seen someone fail backwards.
Once,
And just barely got off from under it, and the spotter did a great job and put the bag in between them and the tombstone. But the failure, to distance and failure ones are always the scariest for like, how is this person going to pass out and how they're going to fold and which way is it going to go, So
yeah, no kidding. Which leads me to a question on the concrete. When you build them like that, what do you put in the concrete to keep them from breaking or cracking? Anything?
So a mixture of the strengthening fibers, a really strong rebar cage to take that brunt of the first impacts, and then the mixture of concrete, making sure it's really on point with the amount of water, because you go too much water, it'll be too soft, it'll start to sand out, and if it's not enough water, it'll be really brittle. So making sure that my mixtures and my densities are correct, and then I've probably made 1.5 times as many objects trying to make sure they're perfect, instead of putting one out there that's subpar. Because like what I will not have is my thing fail because I made it wrong for the person who paid money to fly, hotel, registration fees, t-shirt, clothing, all the equipment to train for 6 months for this competition. And the thing that I make was failing on them instead of them failing with the object. So as far as actually I have them right here. Like I have these strengthening fibers that I put inside with my molds.
Are they really long, or what do they look like?
3/4 inch fiberglass.
Oh, I was just about to ask if they were fiberglass too, because that's what it looked like. Yeah.
So with the steel rebar and the fibers, it does a great job of strengthening across the entire body of the object. So there's no real weak point in the mixture.
So
now, do you mix that all in at once, or
yes,
you mix it in with the concrete? Yeah. Have you ever used a nylon rope?
I have not, because for the past 3 years I've been selling these molds and the packages of fibers. I bought this in bulk, so I have about 600 pounds of fibers. So not ever having to buy rope or anything outside of that. So I have I think a 50-pound box of it right here for where I pack all my mold shipments. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Because like when I first made mine here, the first couple I made cracked. So I took the nylon rope, and just cut it in lengths, and then frayed it all open so that my pieces were about that long, and then just mixed them in there with the concrete.
Sure, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, so it was just kind of neat how they figured out to use fiber instead of cutting up a nice expensive rope that you used to use for truck pull.
That's awesome.
So. Yeah, it's not too bad. That's cool. Right on.
Oh yeah, so you have an online business actually selling just like what we're talking about, like molds and kits. Can you just let the listeners actually know what are you selling that they can actually purchase to help them in their pursuit of strongman?
So in 2020, I'm a certified strength coach. I've worked at pro, college, and high school level with a whole bunch of different athletes over the past decade and a half. 2020, when shutdowns and quarantines all started happening, my job at the school I was at was going to be very much changed. It would be like this, where I'd have 25 kids on a Zoom chat trying to get push-ups and sit-ups done. And it wasn't the same job for me anymore. And the restrictions were going to change how we had to do things. So I was talking with my wife. I was like, this isn't the job that I signed up for anymore. She's like, well, let's figure out something else. So I resigned, helped them find the next coach to fill my spot. And then I realized by the time I got out of the beautiful weight room that I had at the organization I was at, I now have nothing at home. So I went to go buy online and it was all sold out. So right, Rogue, Hammer Strength, everybody has sold out of everything. So being the DIY guy I am, I went to Home Depot and I built my entire gym, my power rack, my bench, my jammers, my pulley system, everything out of lumber, steel pipe, and concrete. And I ended up going viral on Instagram. Up a couple of garage gym websites and like Garage Gym Reviews and Garage Gym Labs and a couple other ones like that. And I then made plates to lift because I didn't have any of those either. And those went double viral. I ended up having like 1,000 new messages. Like, how'd you do it? Can you ship me some? I'm not going to ship people concrete and hope it survives. So I've been making Atlas stones with Steve Slater's Atlas stone molds for years. And I was like, what if I could figure out a way to make a plastic mold like this? Well, luckily, one of the athletes I used to coach, his dad has a vacuum forming company right near my house. And I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I have this idea. He's like, I have no idea what you're doing, but let's talk about it. And he ended up helping me. I created the form, the exact size and shape of the plate that I needed. And then he would form the plastic around them for me. So I'm like the only person in the world that can do a really thick industrial strength plastic mold for plates, dumbbells, and kettlebells. And I started out with large plates, so the full size Olympic, 17.7 inch plates. Mm-hmm. And there was a big rolling need for change plates because people had 45s they bought on Facebook, but they didn't have 25s, 5s, and 10s. So I made a smaller mold for smaller plates for 5 pounds up to about 35 pounds.
Now, is this to make the weight and then take it out and make another weight, or is this?
Yes, sir.
So just make the weight and then slide the weight on. You just use.
Yes, sir.
It's not like something you just fill full and leave it that way.
No, sir. So mine, you buy one mold, you can make 100 if you do it, you treat it right, and you clean it out every time.
Right.
So then I have one guy that was in Dallas. He ended up making, I think, close to 100 sets of 45s and sold them to people around his area in Dallas.
Damn.
So there were lots of little kind of umbrella small businesses around the United States of people that either lost their jobs in COVID and then started selling plates and weights from my stuff to help them make ends meet. And then it grew from there. But then I went into dumbbells because people, a set of 5 to 50 pound dumbbells is close to $2,000, $3,000 from any company at that time. COVID prices spiked it. So I made a single little cup mold. Actually, so with this guy right here, you just fill it with 5 pounds, put the pipe in it, then pop it out, flip it over, make the other side. You have a 10-pound dumbbell. And that could be reused all the way up to 50 pounds. So a 5 to 50 pound set of dumbbells for like $300 of concrete and two 10-foot pipes. So for a tenth of the cost, you have an entire set of dumbbells. So I started finding ways to not really undercut the industry, but to help fill those voids of the people that were willing to spend time, not money, on their gyms at the time. Yeah. So, and then kettlebell, one I'm most proud of is my kettlebell mold, which is like an Atlas stone mold. It's a sphere that goes together, but there's a handle that you set inside, and you go 20 to 70 pounds. So you can make an entire set of kettlebells, 20 to 70 pounds with one mold as well.
Holy cow, that's badass. That's freaking awesome.
But again, it was all selfish because it was things that I wanted to lift and work out with. So I figured out a way for me to make it. And if I liked it, it felt good, then I would sell it and to other people that could try it.
Yeah, but what more could you want? I mean, here you are doing what you love. And in the process of that, find a whole new way of helping other people going through, the pandemic and everything else, still be able to train and do stuff. That's freaking awesome.
It was an absolute insane about 9-10 months where it was the highest need, where people were still shut in and close with restrictions. sales have slowed down because it's no longer a need, it's a want. So it's just the DIY weekend warriors that are looking at my website now. So I could never keep up with the numbers I was doing like in August 2020. But now it's more of a, like I said, it's more of a want, not a need.
We do have an election coming up.
I don't want to make money because of that.
Oh, I didn't say that. Anyway,
the latest one that I actually came up with, I was speaking with Donnie Thompson. He has like body tempering rollers, the steel ones.
Yeah.
But Rogue makes them, and I mean they're beautifully made and they work. I love body tempering. I do it to myself all the time. But buying a steel roller costs $300 to $400 for shipping. You know, it's expensive to get it there. And he's been trying to get with a lot of high schools and like young youth athletes to help them start early so they know how to take care of themselves later. So I reached out to him and said, I have an idea about making a mold to make a tempering roller that matches the same size and shape as your patented design, but I'm not going to do it unless you are okay with me using your design. He was like, you're telling me we can make them for cheap? I was like, I'm telling you we can make them for like $20 a piece. He's like, do it.
There you go.
So I came up with a mold design and got it made and figured out and brought it to him. He had a summit for body tempering and massage therapy in Dallas. So I drove up to Dallas and showed him the design, the prototype mold and how it would look when one came out. And he's like, "This is beautiful. Let's move it." So he reached out to Rogue, and because it was obviously he's contracted through Rogue with his rollers. So my rollers are now, or my roller mold is now sold on their website as an option for body tempering.
Nice.
That's cool. That's really cool. So you take that when you pull it out of the mold, do you sand it at all and then seal it? How do you make it super smooth and stuff? Or
so concrete will take on the feel and texture of whatever it's up against. If you pour concrete on grass and then you let it harden, you pop it up, it's going to feel like grass on the bottom where it was touching the grass. It really is good at forming to whatever it's touching. You just have to vibrate the side to make all the air bubbles come up off the edges. I purposely did one really bad and didn't vibrate it at all for the body tempering, and then just filled it in with, for like a how-to video, filled it in with a filler and sanded it, and it still felt great because you're not rubbing it against your body, you're rolling it and letting it set. Right. It's not truly an abrasion; it's setting against you. So as long as there's no sharp edges, it feels great.
Okay, yeah, it's just things that pop in my head.
Yeah. Well, that was the biggest naysay about that one was like, I'm not going to put concrete up against my skin. It's going to be like road rash. I'm like, well, first of all, like this is smoother than glass. The mold is very smooth. So if it's rough as concrete on the street, you did something wrong.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the biggest naysay and troll to the tempering roller so far, is that no one's going to want to put concrete up against their skin for massage. I'm like, well, try it first before you knock it. You know?
Yeah. Well, that was my favorite thing about getting a brand new fresh set of stones is they're all just perfect and they're smooth, and it's like being on the polished concrete on a polished concrete floor, and you put just a smidge of tacky on, you just stick to it like glue.
Suction cups.
Yeah, it's just awesome. There's nothing better than doing like a brand new set of stones once you get it tacked right. You know, it's nice. It's good in my heart. Plus, you can grab the stones only like halfway down. You don't even have to get underneath them. You
can almost palm the sides of them.
Yep, which is kind of how I have to do them now. I can't reach all the way down like I used to. But hey, whatever works.
For sure.
So
that's it. With making all the equipment and doing all these things, I'm pretty sure you've been invited everywhere.
Yeah, so far, this entire 3-year process has been such a weird accident dream almost. Like I started off just trying to help the backyard warriors, and then a couple of I realized that I had a much extra time on my hands because I'm not coaching 18 hours a day with 800 kids a week, so I can see sunshine and go do things on random days. And I reached out to a couple promoters here in Texas that were making some strongman events. Say, hey, I'll come help load, unload, set up, and we could talk about like how I could help otherwise too, because I'm able to build things. So I got to talk with Robert Spence and John Lester. They were in USS at the time. and they had a bunch of stuff in the Dallas and kind of Central Texas area. So I drive up for the day, help them build or move their stuff and reload. And hey, your next competition, what kind of what are your events looking like? And we do a handshake deal. I'll build it for you, and we'll see what it looks like. And started. That's how it kind of got rolling, moving equipment for people that was custom, kind of cool looking, much more safe than the backyard duct tape and super glue stuff that some places, the smaller events might have to use because they're not sure how to make it correctly. And then with my background in Strongman, I know how it should feel. So I practice and use it here and test it. So if it feels weird, I can make it better while I'm here. So, I'm making awards for them, for the competitors, and like wooden plaques and things like that. And then like the from there, as I go to these competitions, I'm 6.5 feet tall, so I'm a large human, so I can't hide. And then I have my logo on, like, hey, that's the guy that made that weird thing I saw 6 months ago. Like, he made that thing. Like, yeah, I said, hey, I have an idea. Do you think you can make this? And become this organic, almost rolling stone of handshake and then build it and then bring it over and then handshake someone else, build it and bring it to them. And I ended up meeting Gabe Pena for the first time at Static Monsters. One of our mutual friends and one of his friends and a guy he used to train, he had died of a heart issue, and we were doing like a memorial service at Static Monsters. And I think he broke the axle record that day at some ungodly number because he's sick at deadlift. And we were kind of talking, and that's when Spence had told him that I was making the replica of the Husafel stone. And he was like, hey, I'm about to do Beer Stone. His pro-am he did, where Bobby Thompson and a couple other guys went down to South Texas to do. So that was when I met him and handshook and brought some stones down there for his event. And then I met Brian and Carrie Shaw there when he was doing a meet and greet at the Beer Stone. And that became a handshake, and I ended up in Denver. So like, it just keeps popping around. I mean, I ended up at the Arnold because Gabe had me meet Dion for the wagon wheel squat 2 years ago for the amateurs. I made big stone wagon wheels that were, I think, 26 inches in diameter and 100 pounds each. They look like marble.
Yeah, those are cool.
So I made those for that, and then while I'm there, kind of chatting with a couple people, and it just keeps happening to where I'm saying hi to folks, and they're like, "Hey, let's do some business." And I'm not going there for business. I'm there to watch my stuff not get broken, but make sure everything
but that's the beauty of doing things that you love to do. You love the sport. It's just, and it just comes off in everything that you do. I mean, and walking up and talking to you and stuff like that, how excited you get, your enthusiasm about it, all of it. It's neat when you finally get to do what you love to do, and you can make enough money to survive and enjoy life while doing it. I mean,
for sure.
There's nothing better than doing that. Nothing.
That's my main goal, is that of the 5 events, if I sponsor one and there's 5 events, I want people 20 years from now showing their grandkids my event on a picture. Like, grandma used to pick up this crazy cool looking thing. Like that's what I want many years down the road, that my event was the one they'll always remember that they got to do. So that's my biggest goal. Every time I go to a competition with a sponsored event, like, that's the cool one, is the Sticks and Stone one. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, right on. Ben, you got anything?
Well, hey, we've covered quite a bit in this podcast, and the one thing I love is the strongman community, because like I said, getting into this industry is more because I come from a bodybuilding background of, like, that's what my first love is. And now that I start to grow into the strongman love, because like I said, I remember growing up watching strongman. I remember seeing it on Christmas. I remember watching these crazy events and seeing these crazy things. But like, the pride that you must feel from seeing your equipment hit some of the biggest stages and being used is like, I can only imagine the feeling that you get of satisfaction out of the world, like coming full circle. Because like I said, you've been doing strength and conditioning, you've been watching, been doing the strongman for years, and now that you see this, it's like it's just so inspiring, because like, seeing people actually thriving and surviving off of what they love and what they want to do is just, like I said, it holds a lot of truth, that when you love something, you can actually keep doing it for the rest of your life, and like I said, I love just hearing these things, seeing these things. And we've met in person. We were all at OSG. We had a talk, like Nick there's so much back and forth and so much going on, but like just to see you there volunteering, helping, going back and
Mm-hmm.
forth. And a few times from where I was sitting, I could see you poke your head around the corner, making sure is my equipment okay?
Yeah, they got slammed close to one of the guys did the math. My frames got dropped close to 1,000 times each over the 3-day span from fitting and testing to measuring
Yeah.
hands and dropping, and then the actual event. It was close to 1,000 drops for all 4 frames. So that was nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they survived.
Which is a testament, because I mean, if you're training strongman with your guys, you're probably going to do that 5 to 10 times a week.
Yeah.
So here you are, you're looking at that. There's 50 weeks a year. So that's 500 times in a year. I mean, you're looking at years worth of drops, in a day.
Yeah.
So that's pretty freaking cool.
Like was it 5 hours it took that event to get through, I think?
Yeah. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was really excited because I mean the Masters men's OSG was pretty much going to be a 1990s 2000s World's Strongest Man again. Because like Big C was signed up, Lowe's was there, Felix was there. Like there was going to be like I mean Pritchard was signed up early. I'm not sure what happened with his coming out, but there was a bunch of names that I used to grow up watching lift. So like I was like, dude, my equipment's about to get touched by all the guys that I grew up just idolizing, and getting to see Felix carry my frame. That I again, like you said, like I was full of pride to get to see that man. The immortal Mark Felix carry my frame that day was a big step in my business. So
I know that broke my heart. I wanted to do that thing so bad. When we were in the back and I picked that up, I'm like, "How much is this empty?" And you're like, "It's like 4 or something." I'm like, "Boop!" I'm like, "Oh, that feels nice."
Also, your review of my frame made my heart flutter as well, sir. So I appreciate the kind words.
Hey, well deserved. I mean, it's really, really good frame. And I hope people look you up and when they need one, get one from you, because the fact that it's so versatile. I mean, I have a metal frame here. It's 500 pounds. So we got to get 2 people to get it out. And then I got to pick it up by myself and run it through the rocks and then get it out into the street before we go train with it. And it's not a lot of fun to move around other than when you're training with it. So you can move yours around, and it's actually, you can, it's movable. And other people can do it besides me, lifting it and putting it away. I mean, so like me and a couple of the other guys training together, we're the only ones that can put it away. So if we had anybody else with us, they might be able to pick it up and get a little ways with it, but not when we're loading it or unloading it out of the side of the house. So I like the design. It's pretty neat. It gets it to where you can you have more ability for more people to train on it and put it away.
That was the whole deal. I got quoted in a podcast about 1.5 years ago. My good buddy Panda, Christine Matthews, she got a little mad at me for saying that the weight class system in Strongman makes it tough on builders and sponsors to have cool events at the smaller shows. So you have 13 weight classes, and it needs to be loadable for all 13, including novice, which has to be light, up to the super heavies, which could be a guy that's about to be like break out and be the dude, right? So having that big gamut of humans and having things have to be loadable, you can't do a lot of the crazy cool looking World's Strongest Man events on TV. Like Clash did a great job with their single 64s, 72, like that single weight project. That's the way to get those cool objects that don't have to be loadable, but having the full gamut of like a USS Nationals with, I think, 16 different weight classes over 2 full competitions and 12 lanes, having loadable objects like that makes it difficult to have a whole bunch of really cool looking and
loadable
objects.
Loadable and movable to reset back up.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a big contest like that, you have to pick events that not only are a test of strength, but that are easy to reset and run again as well. So a lot of that comes down to
this year. There's an event this year here, I think in Georgia. It's an all sandbag competition. Yeah, like you hate your friends and volunteers if you pick 5 straight sandbag events, like throws, carries, pushes, presses. You hate your volunteers to do a full day of sandbag reloads, man. Like good for them for doing it. I'm not helping at that competition, you know.
I don't. There's
sick
one thing
that
I
day.
don't ever want to talk about again, and that's rucksacks. Great piece of equipment. Great piece of equipment. Good for training yourself on. But for 400 competitors, holding up those rucksacks and put them on people's backs. Oof.
I gladly reset the sleds every time instead of helping with those bags. That was a job in itself. Like those guys were you and those guys were sweating your butts off. I remember that.
Yeah, my hands and my I had an arm pump and a shoulder pump that would not go away.
I'm sure because the weight kept getting heavier through the hours, man.
Yeah. The last ones were like what 130, 140 pounds.
140-pound bag, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
It's a big
it's
curl
getting up
when
there.
you're fresh.
And then you get a guy who's like 400 pounds and kicking his arm through, and you're just like trying to get him on.
The theory was great. I think the buckles and the strap length made it a little more difficult. If there were longer straps to be able to get out, even the smaller girls had trouble getting the buckles up because they were so small to get. Like if there were wider straps and wider and bigger and longer straps and bigger buckles, it would have made it a lot easier for the deload and the reset and then getting it on and strapping it down. But
I will say this: nothing broke.
Yeah, I think
all the rucksacks made it through.
Well, I think 1 or 2 clips kind of broke off and were sharp, but I mean, besides that, they held up great. They were great pieces of equipment. It's just those little tweaks that could happen for future events that would make them really legitimate for Strongman.
Oh yeah, that'd be freaking awesome. You know, it was fun to watch. I was like, oh, that's gonna be brutal on the carries because now you're picking up an extra 140 pounds. Because it's on your back and you got to lift it anyway. So when you're lifting a 300-pound sandbag, it's now a 400-pound sandbag.
I got the nickname Bag Ninja because I was at my lane. I had a Cerberus drop sack bag that I had to throw under anybody that fell backwards so they wouldn't snap their head on the concrete. So because they would turtle, they'd fall on their back and they couldn't get up. But it was the more like when they fell back and their head snapped, that bag had to be there just in case. That was the only thing we were worried about is that 150 pounds of weight pulling them backwards as they're dragging backwards. And if they fell, almost no one could have gotten back up on their own. So
yeah, there was a few that turtled. So yeah, I remember. But it does. But when you get to the drag part of it, that bag, oh man, does it make the drag nice?
Oh yeah,
drags
helps that leverage for sure.
Oh, I almost want to do a truck pull event one day where you weigh the heaviest guy in the competition, and then everybody puts a weighted vest on that makes everybody the exact same body weight.
As the heaviest man, no. I'm tall and I'm top heavy. You can't take that from me. That's my advantage, all right?
I think that would be cool.
I got short arms. I got to pull deadlift from the floor just like you. You can't take my advantage.
Yeah, but it's easier for you to do the stones because the stones go up higher.
Oh.
But I just want to see one truck pull event like that just to see what would happen. I think it would be kind of interesting, actually.
That would be evening the body weight or the leverage structure would be an interesting way to figure that out.
You couldn't really do the leverage that much because the height of the people. So I mean, just the evening out factor of the body weight difference, I think would be kind of interesting just to see. You're not going to be able to change the leverages that much. Yeah. But it would be really kind of neat to see. You know, if Brian's weighing 450 that day, everybody gets to weigh 450.
But he's not going to step on the scale and let you know what he weighs, though.
No, not most of the time. But he has a few times, and a couple of times you're like 454. Holy shit! He's like, that's a big man. But for the rest of the time, I mean, I think he's down to like 385 right now.
Yeah, he trimmed down a lot for that fight. I heard recently, did it get canceled?
I believe it's been postponed from what I've heard.
Man, that stinks.
But, it is what it is.
And training for fights, stuff like that's going to pop up. You know what I'm saying? People are going to get hurt, strains, and like I said, it's all. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's still going to happen.
Well, I'm hoping it's not a hurt or a strain, because that means that it's one of the 4 strongman competitors, right? I mean,
Well, there's 3 strongmen and 1 that's not a strongman.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
But,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
they are an actor, and maybe they're committed to a film. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're only speculating here.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Or everybody just decided they didn't want to die when Brian drops an elbow on their head.
That's how you get coloring books for Christmas. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just watching him train, I was like
getting kicked by a horse.
Oh, I used to feel pretty okay because I knowing Frank Mir and getting to roll around with him a little bit and stuff like that, and knowing some basic level jiu-jitsu, not great at it at all, but knowing enough to, it was like, man, if you guys just screw off one of these, I'll just kind of roll them up a little bit. Yeah, no, that's out. That's out now. Watching Brian, I'm just like, yep, no. I'm
a dangerous and skilled fighting Brian is a scary Brian.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to stay faster at running than he is. That's it. Or I'm not gonna shoot him, so I'm just gonna run from him. Problem is his cardio is really good, so I might be able to out sprint him for a little while.
That distance,
but then he's just gonna keep trucking as I'm catching my breath, and I'm toast anyway. So
die tired.
I think the best idea is just have him not be mad.
Most likely, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, David, promote your website where people can actually reach you to get your materials.
My website is www.stix_and_stone.com, and I'm also Stix and Stone on Instagram as well.
And I'll put all the information and links in the notes. I will put it in the notes. I know people complain, but sometimes I forget to.
You forgot?
Sometimes. Well, Dave, Nick has a saying, and it's a saying we all believe in here. Nick, can you exit us out with that saying?
I can. Well, if you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe. Go check out David and subscribe and check out everything on his website. And as always, train hard, train smart, and be the best you can be. Thank you.
Thank y'all.